Hi everyone, so welcome to today's video. Thanks for spending some of your day here with me. Today we are getting ready. I'm gonna do a full face, mostly full face, of Milani Cosmetics. I ordered some things that I wanted to revisit, some products that I tried 3 years ago, and I'm kind of circling back to some of those products and just continuing to expand my collection of drugstore products. So I wanted to do a video using some of the new things that I got, some new releases from Milani that I want to sort of catch up on and try for myself, and just kind of play with some makeup. So that's what we're doing today. So if you may notice, my brows are already filled. I will tweak them and set them when we get to that part of my routine. I did fill them in mostly off camera because of the fact that they do take quite a bit of time. And since the products that I use are not from Milani, I decided to just do it off camera. First, I started off with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Brunette, and I filled in entirely with that. And then I went in and sort of pinpointed some spots where there's just a lack of hair, some bald spot sparseness with the Maybelline Build a Brow. I used this in Friday's video, and that was kind of like a first impressions. The shade that I have is Ash Brown, and so I use that to fill in some areas. And I'm going to use the sealing gel that's on the opposite end when I get to that part of my routine where I would have typically started doing my brows. But to save time, that's already been done and taken care of. Now, for old time's sake, I decided to revisit the Milani foundation, the Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. The shade that I ordered is 00 BB Nude. This is the same shade that I used 3 years ago, or almost 3.5 years ago. And I was surprised that that was a match because this is several shades darker than I would have selected for myself, but it looks like it's going to be good. Now, here's the thing. I filmed this portion of the video yesterday getting ready. My headache turned into a migraine and I just had to stop filming because I was not feeling good. So I scratched that and we're starting all over. So I did use this yesterday and the match is very good. And I also decided to purchase the Longwear concealer, the Conceal and Perfect in the shade 110 Nude Ivory. So we're going to use this. I honestly thought I had a Milani primer, but I don't. So I'm just going to skip primer altogether and I'm going to go directly in with the foundation. And I'm going to use my damp beauty blender. I'm going to just dot this around and then I will blend in. And I wish I could have kept yesterday's video to show you my reaction using this because the match was pretty spot on, I would say, with these lights and looking at it. With the sunlight coming in, it's actually a really good match. And it blends beautifully. Looks so nice. And I was just kind of blown away. And part of me is so excited about this because I'm on the quest to find the best drugstore foundation. I've tried a couple and they just kind of been pretty hit and miss for me. And I'm not doing very good with matching myself at the drugstore. I have no idea what is going on, why it's so difficult for me to find a match. So when I get it pretty good or almost spot on, it just excites me on a whole nother level. Case in point, today's foundation. This is a very good match for me. And this looks so good. I know it looks kind of scary because I'm completely washed out, but we will add some color, some dimension, some depth with bronzer and blush here in a moment. But this foundation is looking so good. I am so thrilled. Going in with a little bit of the concealer. Now this, I do feel is a little light. And this is the second or third shade maybe. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. But the shade 110 is what I have. And it looks kind of like it has a bit of a cool undertone, which is fine for under the eyes for concealer. A little bit of pink doesn't bother me. But I just wish that it was a little bit more, just a little darker. But it's fine. I'm adding a couple tiny little dots just to get a little bit more coverage right in through here. I've had some more intense looking dark under eyes lately. I have not been sleeping. We had some like crazy heavy winds and rain, like scary sounds, okay? I thought the windows were going to be ripped off of my house. I could not believe it, and I couldn't really sleep that well. And I feel like it's starting to be noticeable in my under eyes, and it's catching up. It's catching up to me, guys. We need a little extra help in the concealer department today, and I'm going to take a little bit through the upper part of my lids. And I'm going to blend this around the sides. Whatever's left, I'm going to go on the top of the nose, center of the forehead, and the chin. Just to kind of brighten and kind of illuminate the inner part of the face. So that blended in so well. And honestly, I can't even believe that I stopped using this. I don't know what I was thinking to declutter that, because I remember I was moving out of my old house and I got rid of some things, and I know that's when I got rid of these products, but I'm glad to have them back. I am so glad that I decided to purchase them and try them because this looks pretty good. I'm setting my under eyes with the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder. This is the shade 01 Translucent, but this actually has a more sort of yellow tinge to it. So I have to be really careful about how much I use of this. I wish it were just a more traditional translucent powder. So I have to be pretty careful, because if I bake with this, my under eye will look darker as the bake is setting, and it'll be obvious the concealer and the foundation where they meet right in through this area. You will be able to tell that I have like a darker powder on. So I have to be really careful, and then I do have to bring it down a little bit lower to sort of balance things out. So I do feel like this has a little bit more pigment than I personally prefer. So it's not my favorite drugstore setting powder. So I'm gonna just be kind of strategic with it and keep it around this sort of region of my face to disguise that it is a little bit more of a pigmented translucent powder. But it does blur and it smooths and it sets. So it does what it's supposed to do. I just wish the color was a little different. I'm going in with the Sealing Step 2 of the Build-A-Brow to take care of my brows and finish the last little tweaks before we go into bronzer. And I've really been enjoying this product. I've been using it for about a week now. I know you just saw me use this for the first time on Friday, but I've had some time to use it quite a bit, and I do like this product. The Ash Brown is a nice shade that seems to work for me, surprisingly, because I never purchase anything in an ash brown. It's always like medium brown, soft brown, brunette type shades. So this is pretty dark for ash brown. So I do feel like the shades run a little bit dark. So I do think that this is a good brow pen from the drugstore, and I really do appreciate the fact that they've given you a sealing gel to set your brows. That is not a feature that you find in a lot of brow pens. In fact, I don't know of another one on the market that does that with a brow tint on the opposite end. So I love that, and I also love that it's affordable from the drugstore. Milani recently released some new cream bronzers, and I picked up one shade from the Cheek Kiss cream bronzer range. This is the shade 110 Hey Honey. And I'm going to use an angled brush. This is a Sigma F23 brush to apply and blend. And I did get to this part yesterday when I was filming this for the first time. And I still honestly stand by how I felt yesterday. This blends very, very seamlessly. Super easy. And I'm doing a little bit of product at a time to kind of build this up, because you can always add. It's harder when it's too much and you have to kind of buff it out and try to minimize the amount. So I tend to go very, very lightly and sort of build, but this blends like a dream, you guys. I love this so much, and I'm getting the same result yesterday. The finish, I feel like the finish is not quite like luminous. It's not dewy. It doesn't sit radiant on the skin. It's more like a satin kind of finish. Not quite matte, but close to it, I would say. So I would say it's more of like a satiny type finish, and it just looks really beautiful. Now, as far as the wear time, I'm not sure, because as soon as I started not feeling great yesterday, I went, hopped in the shower, took all the makeup off, put my pajamas on, and I was literally done for the day, okay? Bare minimum for the rest of the day yesterday. So today, I'm gonna get to see how this wears for the next couple of hours. I also picked up one of their Silky Matte bronzers. I've used this product before, a different shade, and I remember trying this out a couple of years ago. So I ordered shade 02. This is the shade called Sunkissed. I used 01, which is the lightest shade, but I decided to try a different tone. The pan looks the same, but I think the packaging has been changed a little bit from what I could remember. And then for old time's sake as well, we're going down memory lane. Who remembers the Multitask brush from Real Techniques? We're talking back 2010 timeframe. And I saw that they had this little mini on the Ulta website. This is the 407 Mini Multitask brush. Look how cute this is. From memory, this looks to be like the original full-size Multitask brush. Just the handle has been shortened for it to be more of a mini size. The handle is different. Mine, if you had Real Techniques brushes from back then, they got all like gummy, and the silicone handle was so difficult to clean. Like makeup just like got stuck onto it, and it was like holding a sticker in your hand. It was so bizarre, and it did that with the eye brushes, my face brushes. So I like the fact that they've changed their design, and that is no longer an issue. But look how cute this is. So I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this. This is so small, oh my gosh. So small, but it brings me right back to those early days when I discovered Real Techniques. And I still think that they are great for brushes. You can find them at the drugstore, you can find them at Ulta, online, Amazon. And they're really great, affordable, they're soft, they perform well, they wash and dry nicely as well. Just all around a great drugstore brand of brushes. Milani has a couple of different options for blushes. They have some that have a kind of floral design, and they're really pretty. I used to have the little trio palettes that I bought years ago, and I don't think I have them. I try to look. I probably should go through my drawers again and see if I even kept them for just nostalgia purposes. I remember really liking them, but they have a really pretty floral design. They're very similar to these flower pot blushes from Flower Beauty. They have that same sort of shape, and I'll show you. This is a flower one, so it looks like that with like a floral design. So Milani has the same ones, but then they also have a great range of baked blushes. One of my absolute favorites is the Petal Primavera. This blush is pretty old. I don't care, I still use it. I love this. It's a pretty sort of satiny finish, like a soft kind of rose mauve. And I love this, but I also have this little mini that was a gift with purchase many years ago and haven't used it quite much. This is the infamous Luminoso. Who remembers when Luminoso just took off and that was like the it blush, okay? And I'm using an Eco Tools Define brush. This brush is so old, but it's a really great one for blush and bronzer and even setting powder and face powder. I don't know if they make this anymore. I'll try to find it online, and if I can find it, I will link it for you because I do reach for this a lot. And I'm trying to use like affordable brushes as well when I do my drugstore videos. So I do need to expand my drugstore brushes. So if you have any brushes that you really like from the drugstore, let me know what they are. I've got several Real Techniques. I've got some Profusion, and I just need to wash my Profusion brushes because I do think that I have probably enough to do a full face using those for my future drugstore videos. But if you have any recommendations or any brushes that you love from the drugstore, I would love to hear from you. And I have to show you one of my favorite products from Milani. I love highlight. They have really beautiful baked highlighters. The shade Dolce Perla is absolutely stunning, but they also make a more blinding highlight. So if you like that, I've got one that you will absolutely love. It's the Afterglow Strobelight highlighter. This is a mini, again, like a gift with purchase type of situation. I love this. They do have this formula individually and also in like a 2 or 3 pan palette. This is intense and it is absolutely stunning. This is my favorite drugstore brand highlighter of all time. I love these as well, the baked ones. But I think I like this one a little bit more because it's more intense. This is a little softer, just a little bit more ethereal. You can build it up. This can be intense if you want it to. So I'm going to go with the baked one to show you that one because the Luminoso blush has a sheen to it, more of like a soft satin kind of glow. So the other highlighter would be, I think, a little too much and it would look a little crazy and very blinding and intense. So we're just gonna play it soft. And I'm going to use the baked one. And I'm going to go in with the Real Techniques 242 brush. This is actually a brightening concealer brush, but the shape is absolutely perfect for applying highlighter. So I'm going to use that today. Tapping off the excess. And I'm just going to press this on the high points of the cheek. Yes. You see how soft and just like a gentle glow? It's there, but it's not like in your face. It's not blinding. It doesn't look like you have a strobe light on your face where they can see you from miles away. I mean, you can make it get there, okay? It can get there, but it's just really soft. And this formula is made in Italy, by the way. So Italy is known for making really great cosmetic products. Look at that. Yes, love it. Don't sleep on Dolce Perla. Going into eyes next, I'm going to use the Milani Eyeshadow Primer. This is a primer that's really not my favorite. I just feel like it has a bit of like a oily consistency. And no matter how little I use, like the teensiest amount, a little bit more, maybe a lot, either way, I get the same result. I get creasing. It's just not really working for me, and I feel like I have to let this kind of sit a little bit so that it kind of dries, because it is kind of greasy feeling. And I just feel like that's kind of bizarre, right? For a primer to have a greasy feel when you're trying to use the primer to combat oiliness and the breakdown of your eyeshadows. I don't know, like it just doesn't work. Does anybody else have this problem? Or if it works for you, how much do you use? Do you set it? Do you put powder down first, like translucent powder on your lids, and then apply it? Like, I need some help here, guys. I don't know why this doesn't work for me, but this is, I think, one of the only primers that I found at the drugstore. And I think they've changed the packaging. I think it's more of like a lavender, but the formula is the same. So I've given my primer some time to kind of set down. It doesn't feel greasy. It doesn't feel like it's still drying down. I might be safe now. I wanted to try the eyeshadow sticks from Milani. These are the gilded eyeshadow sticks. I picked up 2 shades. This has probably been out for several months at this point, but this is new to me. I have not used them yet. And I picked up 2 shades, Blossom, which seems to be like a nice everyday type shade, and Terra, which is a bit more of a smoky, deeper shade for eyeliner, like a quick liner look, going across the upper lash line, blending it out, lower lash line. I don't have a Milani eyeliner. I thought I had a pencil liner, but it's actually a NYX pencil liner, and I should have added one to my order. So the next order, I will pick up some eyeliners to try. But I remember years ago I used, I believe it was called the Tank liquid liner, and that was really intense, very potent, rich, dark black, and it wore incredibly well, and it was easy to use. So I should have added that to my order when I bought the foundation. But anyways, next time. And then I also have this palette that I've used before in a previous drugstore video. This is the Gilded Mini Eyeshadow Palette in the shade called Whiskey Business. And this has a full matte look from the light shade all the way to the deepest shade. It's all matte. So I'm going to use this shade here, which is the lightest one, to set this primer. And even though I'm going to use some cream shadows, I really am not trying to skip and cut corners with this primer because I don't trust it. I don't trust this primer. It's going to do me wrong. I have a feeling that it's just still going to crease on me. And I think I'm just going to go directly on, whoa, okay. This is very pigmented. It's a shimmery, kind of metallic, pinky shade. That's really nice, actually. And I'm going to use a brush to soften those edges and blend this a little bit more up towards the crease. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Like for a one and done, this is nice. I'm going to go in with the Terra shade, which is the deeper of the two, and I'm going to use that on my lower lash line. And I'm going to be really careful with this one. I'm going to take that same Terra shade and use a little bit of that to create a bit of smokiness at the base of my upper lashes. I'm going to soften the line with the same brush that I used on my lower lash line. I'm adding a little bit of eyeshadow into my crease. I do feel like I wanted a little bit more dimension and shape to my eye, so I wanted to add a little bit more color. And so I'm going to do an additional step, going back into that Whiskey Business, and I'm using this light shade right in here. It's a third color. It looks pretty light, but when I apply it, it just adds a little hint of warmth. And maybe you can see the difference between this eye that just has liner and eyeshadow, and then this one has liner, shadow, and some crease color. I feel like it just looks a little bit more cohesive, a more pulled together, a full look. And I think it's just because the shadow is so light, I wanted just a little bit more depth. And if the lid shade was a little bit more intense with pigment, maybe a little bit richer and a little bit deeper, I probably wouldn't have done this step, but because it's so light, I just felt like my eye was missing a little something. So I'm just going to do this really quickly with a fluffy crease brush. And I'm going to take a little bit of that light crease color and go underneath as well. feel like it just kind of helps pull everything together. It's just that one little extra step that really does make a difference. The final step for the eyes is to take a little bit of my face highlighter, the Dolce Perla, for inner corner highlight, and I'm going to use a reference number 3 brush for this. And just do just a bit right in this inner corner and through the brow bone. Now time for some mascara. I picked up one of their other mascaras, so they do have a few options. I decided to try the highly rated Lash Extension Tubing Mascara. Love this packaging, love this color. I was not a fan of the anti-gravity. I pulled this from my empties stash. This is the highly rated anti-gravity mascara. This one, I just felt like it didn't give me what I was hoping for. So I really hope that this Lash Extension mascara is going to be better and give me more of what I'm looking for. I want something that gives me length, thickness, that makes the lashes look more intense, that just makes the lashes look like fake lashes. I know it's a lot to ask for, but it does exist out there and you can find it at the drugstore. So I really have high hopes for this mascara. And right off the bat, the wand looks so different than the anti-gravity, which has more of an hourglass shape. This one is a little bit thinner and it goes slightly thinner at the tip and then it gets just ever so slightly wider at the base of the wand. So I do think that this is probably going to be a little bit better for me. Now we're going to apply 2 coats of this and see how this works. And I do feel like this mascara is a little bit more wet than I prefer personally. It's not a bad thing if it builds nicely. Okay, so I am not liking this. I feel like the more I comb through, the more, I don't know if you can tell, it's sticking my lashes together. And I don't have like extremely long lashes, but I have some decent ones and this is just not working for me. So I'm gonna have to just leave it as is, but I can tell you this is a no for me. This is not my journey. I do not like the way this is looking. It could be because this is brand new. Maybe it'll get better as it sits, but this I feel like puts way too much product on your lashes, and then when you try to comb it through, they just kind of stick together. I'm going to try it on the lower lash line. Maybe it'll be fine. I hope. I hope it doesn't do anything weird. Now, because it's a tubing mascara, I'm not concerned about it flaking or smudging because tubing mascaras, they do come off very different and like little black specks at the end of the day with makeup remover, oil-based cleansers. They do remove differently than traditional mascaras. So I'm not concerned with it doing something kind of weird on my lower lash line. So I think it'll be fine going forward for the lower lashes, but for my uppers, I just feel like it doesn't give me enough thickness, length, volume. I feel like it's making my lashes look shorter than they are, and I think the formula is a little wet and somewhat kind of heavy. So if you have short lashes that do not hold a curl, I would not even recommend this. And I know this is my first time using it, and it might get better possibly as it sits. Some mascaras tend to do that. The longer they sit open, the better they get. But as of right now, my first impression is this is a pass for me. Switching gears, we're going to lip. It's the final step of the face routine today. I've got 3 products from Milani that I am very interested in trying. I have not tried their lip oil formula, so I picked up one shade, the Strawberry Melon shade. I also picked up the Keep It Full Plumpers. I have used this formula before a couple years ago, and it was like a champagne shade, one of the lightest colors. I chose Luminoso this time, number 04. So that is like a pretty peachy pink with a bit of a sheen to it, like a golden sheen. And then they also have a hydrating lip stain that came out probably a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago at the most. And I picked up one shade that I thought would be really pretty to try, Rose Rising. So we're gonna use this today. I'm removing what I had on my lips. It was just like a prepping type of product, and we're gonna go straight into this hydrating lip stain. So that is very intriguing. Lip stains don't generally hydrate the lips. They tend to just be very watery, and then they set, give you a stained sort of popsicle kind of look to the lips. You can leave it as is, top it with something else. So I'm interested to see how this is going to look once it dries and what the end result is going to be as far as color. So this is the Rose Rising. And it smells like cupcake batter, vanilla cupcakes. Doesn't that sound yummy? Oh yes, love that smell. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And I do really like this applicator. I feel like there's some give and some flexibility with it, so you can just kind of lay it and it kind of moves with your lip as you're applying. Like so, right? And then you can lay it on its side and use it to get right on your lip line. It also has that point, so you can really sort of perfect the shape. But this is actually really nice. It's comfortable, and hopefully the camera is picking it up, but there is a little bit of a sort of glossy, hydrated look. That's so interesting. It almost feels like a regular lip balm gloss type of thing. It doesn't feel like a traditional lip stain that is thin and dries down to a more matte finish. This is nice. And I didn't use any lip liner, but I feel like if I would have been able to have a more defined shape. But that is pretty. And what I love about this so far is how consistent and even the color goes on. I've tried other lip stains where it looks a little bit lighter on my upper lip, and then like my bottom center lip turns darker and it looks kind of weird. And that's why I don't do a lot of lip stains, because they don't apply evenly and they don't wear evenly. So I hope that this stays and looks even and wears off beautifully as the day progresses. I'm gonna leave it. Sometimes you can kind of blot this off and have a more matte look, but I like how this feels and looks, so I'm gonna leave it. What do you think? Have you tried these? Let me know. So this is the full face of mostly Milani Cosmetics. What do you think of the look? I think it looks nice, and I'm really impressed with the complexion products. I think that's the standout. The foundation, the concealer, the bronzer, the blush, the highlights. It's all really, really pretty. And I do enjoy the way that looks, and I hope that it wears well. I have a feeling it will, because that formula from the foundation is supposed to be more of a long-wearing formula. I also really like this lip product. It's very interesting, a hydrating lip stain. It's different. I don't have many lip stains in my collection, and I'm glad to have one that seems to be a good formula. It seems promising, and it's from the drugstore. If it wears well and it kind of fades nicely and evenly through the day, I think I'm going to order the pink one and maybe try that berry. That's a little bit deeper than this, but this is really pretty. It's a nice kind of berry. A little bit out of my wheelhouse of what I normally wear, but I like it. It's a nice change, and I think it goes well with a more simple eye look as well. The only thing that's a pass for me in this video will have to be the mascara. I don't like the way this looks, and it could just be because it's a new tube and it doesn't build very well. So tubing mascaras, you kind of want to do a nice thin even layer and leave it at that. Traditional mascaras, you have a little bit more play with it so that you can build it up and do a second coat, maybe a third coat, depending on the formula. But tubing mascaras, they generally tend to be different just because of the way it coats the lashes. So let me know in the comments down below, what's your favorite Milani products? What are your favorite products from the drugstore? Is there a specific brand that you like? Do you want to see like one brand tutorials for certain brands at the drugstore? Let me know, because I would love to do those types of videos. As I said before in the video, I'm expanding my drugstore range of products so that I can do these more often for you. So give me your recommendations. Let's chat in the comments. I hope that you enjoyed it. I do appreciate you so much for spending some of your day here with me. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future and for new content coming up. I will see you hopefully in my next video on Friday, and you can also catch me on Instagram. It's here on the screen. Take care, you guys, and we'll talk very soon. Bye-bye.